This is what the miners were looking for when they came prospecting for copper here in 1707. There's another one right here, and another one right here. There's two right here, and there's another one straight across from us. So this is, again, they're flaking off the ore with the explosions. Particularly, they are sending Tories. Tories are the folks who are supporting King George. I just did it myself, just like I said I would. Do as I say, not as I do. Say, not as I do. Now we're going to kind of follow the path of the miners again for a little bit. You can see this nice green of the copper on both sides of us and stretching off into the distance, indicating the richness of the copper deposits here. You can see the mine tailings of the later period. You can see some of the chestnut logs from the earlier period. If we look over here, though, we're seeing something from the prison period in between. This is an escape tunnel in the making that was being dug by two prisoners named Humphrey and Crawford on the night of April 2nd, 1774. As they were working their way up there, they caused an avalanche of stones to come down upon their heads. It is believed by the state authorities and also the testimony of their fellow prisoners that they are buried under the rocks at the foot of that shaft. Their bodies have not been recovered. There's a couple more of those old chestnuts. There's one right there. As we come down here, we see one of the places where the bats like to hang out. The big brown bats like to hang on to these nice little shelves that they can, they enjoy the areas that are kind of more open. The little brown bats like it more enclosed, and so they're deeper into the mine. As we see here, we can see the green of the copper on the walls and on the ceilings as we pass through these points. And you can see some of the drill marks as the miners are again working their way into these spaces. We want to watch our heads as we come abreast of this area because it's going to get pretty low. As we look in the nooks and crannies here, we can see the water, and it would continue down below that. Now, the original miners would have found this to be an insuperable area, and so this would have been the end of the line for them. The later miners, not so much, because they had steam pumps that allowed them to mechanically remove the water. If you look down in the distance, you can see the water table once again. We are just skimming right on top of it. We are just a couple feet above that. The miners have dug a 300-foot trunk line along the top of the water table to act as a jumping off point so that they can build a series of tunnels. If you go up here, you can see one of these nice old tunnels as they are going back uphill. You can see some of the old mining timber, and you can even see some of the old porcelain insulators that they used the first time they electrified this place back in the year 1900. They just repurposed the old mining timbers to act as kind of poles for stringing the electrical wires. As the miners got into this place, though, in the year 1712, they would have been in deep trouble. 100 feet long and 3.5 feet in diameter. And so what they're doing is they're going down there on their knees in the rising water in almost total darkness, swinging picks, and they are trying to find the valley that is off to the west. And eventually they poke through the turf and the water runs out and the air runs in. Able to do this with mathematics and, of course, with a lot of muscle power, because this, like this, had to be dug with hand tools, not with gunpowder. A quick peek as we head on up. We see these drill marks that the miners are drilling into there, and you can see they're about 9 inches or a foot deep. And then here is the 1712 tunnel that was dug, and you can see All the tool marks are going down below, and with anything that's dug with hand tools, it is going to be more or less even. This is a 5.5 foot cylinder. Over here, on the other hand, is something that has been excavated by gunpowder. So it's going to be completely arbitrary and chaotic looking, whatever has been removed by the blast wave of those expanding gases. And so that's how something looks like when it has been blown up by gunpowder. As we come up here, you're going to see these little pieces of green copper everywhere where they have kind of washed down from whatever their source was. There's another one right there. Beautiful. Okay. As we come around here, we look at you can actually smell the mustiness of the air. The tunnels are coming up from below. These are coming up from that trunk line we were mentioning earlier. And they're coming up at that 23 degrees. You can see the green of the copper on the ceiling and on the walls over here. And you can see the slash marks as they're drilling into that seam of copper ore and going to flake it off. You can see another one of those chestnut logs that the miners have put there to provide structural stability for the mine as they continue to work their way uphill from this point. And then here's some more of those old chestnuts. These are about 310 years old, blackened with age and with dampness. Another one of these guys. And as we kind of wrap our way around here, you can see the green of the copper as it kind of turns the corner around this promontory, and you can see the distinctive banding of the malachite in that area there, those horizontal lines. As we come into this space here, we are looking at the other end of the tunnel that we were just poking up, and it goes and wraps around to the left and eventually rejoins that area where we were at before. You see that saddle of low ground in the middle, which is kind of darker than the rest, and it kind of goes up and goes off to the right and around away from our field of view. That tunnel, as you get to the top, is only 2 feet high. The miners are going in on their bellies face first, and they are going to be pounding and drilling. And so what they would do is they would tie ropes around their ankles. And there's the original 1707 shaft. The copper discovery would have been at the base of that shaft, and then everything that happened would have started from that one event. Everything subsequent, including this little trip through the mine that we've just taken right now. But we are historical actors, everything is significant as anyone in the past.